promised more money for our public services. Where is that money coming from, and how can we trust that your plans will add up?
Thank you. Promises of money for our public services. Where does the money come from? How can we trust your plans add up? Caroline Lucas.
Well, the first thing to say is that we would stop spending money on things that we simply don't think is a good use of money. And Trident nuclear weapons would come pretty close to the top of that list. So we would scrap nuclear weapons. That would give us around 130 billion minimum over the next 30 years. We wouldn't be building HS2. We wouldn't be going ahead giving massive subsidies to Hinkley nuclear power station. So first of all, the thing you do is to stop wasting money. And then you have a principle that says that those people who have more money, who have the broadest shoulders, should be giving more into our system. So essentially what we need to be doing is to be levying things like a wealth tax, looking at issues around, as I said before, corporation tax. I think it's wrong that we're going for this bargain basement tax haven. I think we should be going for a country where corporations pay their tax. But the bottom line is that this country is not a poor country. The money is in the wrong hands. There is vast inequality in this country. And if we were to sort that problem out, then we would have a much better chance of ensuring that public services are properly paid for. Take the NHS, for example. We put far less into the NHS than most other countries of a similar GDP, the similar wealth. We don't put that money in our public services, and therefore we don't have the world-class public services that we demand. The Greens are really clear that for us, public services should be in public hands, they should be not having the private sector in them, and they should be properly resourced.
Thank you, Caroline Lucas. I'm going to turn to Amber Rudd. The question is about trusting the plans, and in your manifesto, there was a notable absence of costings.
Well, I would say, in answer to that question, judge us on our record. On our record, we have cut. Okay.
Very clear that we will negotiate tariff-free trade access to European markets so that our manufacturing industry jobs are defended and supported, and we have a growing economy as a result of that. We have made a number of very clear spending commitments in our manifesto. They're set out here in a spending plan. They're also set out in the manifesto itself. The government, the Conservative government, has made a lot of choices. We know what those choices are. Our schools are underfunded, our hospitals are overcrowded, our students are saddled with debt, there's a growing housing crisis. And at every single turn, their answer is to further reduce corporation tax and further reduce tax for the very wealthiest in our society.
Sure?
I'll give you an example.
I just want to ask, are you sure that your plans add up? I mean, it was only yesterday you couldn't remember the cost of one of your policies.
I'm absolutely sure that they add up. Absolutely clearly about this. For example, if we want to remove university tuition fees, and we do, so our students are not saddled with debt, and restore maintenance grants so that all children, whatever their background, have a chance of going to university, that will cost £11 billion. I think that is money well spent. I think that is the kind of investment this country needs.
Do you think
why should a child's future be determined by the postcode in which they're born? That's why we are determined to bring in free preschool, 30 hours a week from 2 to 4-year-olds, and make sure that every primary school child gets a free lunch every day so they can learn while they're properly fed.
But Jeremy, you have a Labour government in Wales and they aren't doing those things. You have a Labour government in Wales that is charging students to go to university. Yeah. Why are you saying this here when you have an example of a Labour government in Wales not doing that?
And a UK government policy.
So Labour's different in UK and different in Wales?
It's going to be a UK policy, and it will mean that the money is made available there by increasing tax, not for the first 95% of the population, but the other 5% to ensure the funds are there. Because I am fed up with... Can I finish? I'm absolutely fed up with the idea that so many children growing up in poorer households and poorer communities don't get the same chances as others to get to university and get on in life. They lose, and we all lose, because we lose those skilled, brilliant people that want to contribute to our community.
Angus Robertson, your manifesto also included major spending promises, an extra £180 billion for public services, UK-wide.
Yep, it's actually 128 billion. The different sources are rescheduling the UK's finances in 10 billion, that's 118 billion, and 10 billion in funds to be raised through taxation, largely through the 45 to 50 pence tax raise change. I'm just interested by Jeremy, following SNP policy on tuition fees. I'd like to congratulate you, Jeremy. It's a shame your party north of the border has opposed your SNP so regularly on things. But can I bring up a really serious issue, which I think has been the biggest so far in the campaign? And that relates to social care and to pensions. And I think when older people are facing the most likely prospect, which is a re-elected Tory government, sadly, and they are promising a dementia tax, an end to the winter fuel payment, and cuts to the pension, I think those people deserve to know by how much. Exactly. And they haven't been told. Now, the Prime Minister didn't have the guts to come along this evening to tell us. So I'd like to challenge... I would like to challenge Amber Rudd. I would like to challenge Amber Rudd to tell us the answer to that question now, because they must have costed it. They must know how much money that will bring in. Please tell the pensioners of this country how much they will have to pay to fund Tory austerity. How much? Okay.
About the level of the cap on social care, and the other is you also haven't said at what level you'd be means testing the winter fuel payment. Tim Farron.
The Amber Rudd is not answering. Yep. You see, what we have is a general election in 8 days' time. Theresa May assuming a colossal landslide. That's why she thinks she can ignore it all and not bother turning up tonight. And she's telling you, we will take your house off you, and we will allow you to know how much we'll let you keep after you've given me a colossal majority. So if tonight you resolve to vote Conservative on the 8th of June, you are resolving to give Theresa May permission to do what she likes. And that's with education cuts, that's with NHS cuts. Do not give her a blank cheque. Now, there's a question about how you make things add up. The Liberal Democrats have got a fully costed manifesto. I tell you what, though, there's a long-term economic plan underlying the whole of the Liberal Democrat manifesto, and that is don't leave the European single market and throw away £15 billion every single year in revenue to the tax.
Just briefly, you have been clear about how you would pay for the extra £6 billion that you would give the NHS. So do you think that would be transformative? Because there are a lot of experts who say that actually it wouldn't make that much of a difference.
To me, the NHS is personal, not political. My mum, who had ovarian cancer, from the point of her diagnosis to her treatment, to her care, to her passing away in a ward just 2 floors away from the one where she'd given birth to me, like everybody out there, our experience of the National Health Service is personal. And let me finish. And the point is simply this. If you look at and you use National Health Services, you know, as we saw in Manchester just last week, how utterly brilliant, caring, dedicated and professional they are. And yet, Caroline, let me finish, you know I didn't. So what we've got here is you see the professionalism and the decency of those people, but have we got the best funded health service in the world? No, we haven't. We spend less on our NHS than health, than Portugal, than on Spain, than on Greece. It's important that we put a penny on income tax to fund the National Health Service and the recovery of it.
The question was, how would you raise the money? We've been quite detailed about how we'd raise the money. We would, firstly, we'd scrap HS2, which is only there for the benefit of one place and one place alone, and that is London. We'd also look at the Barnett formula, which gives the Scots £1,700 per head more than us, the English. It needs to be scrapped. We'd also get an EU dividend, and finally,
the £350 million. The famous £350 million a week.
We would slash a foreign aid budget, which is costing the British people £30 million every single day. Hang on, and we would transfer that money to the National Health Service, and that's why, because we're prepared,
we can't hear him speak.
Because we're prepared to look at different priorities, we can give the NHS an extra £9 billion a year, £2 billion extra for social care.
It's not that long ago that you called the NHS a monolithic hangover from days gone by.
Let's privatise it.
You want to privatise it.
When did you change your mind?
And in the areas of procurement, I think I was right. I think the NHS could do better. However, what I will say is we're going into this and the last general election with a clear commitment to keep the NHS in public hands and put £9 billion extra in. And that's taking money from a foreign aid budget, as I say, which is costing us at the present moment in time £13 billion every single year.
Thank you all for your responses to that question.